heard these songs and stories about Jesus when he was born. No room at the inn, three wise men, blah, 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 blah. And we know from the Gospels about his parables and miracles. But what was he like as a kid?
No one knows. There's no story about Jesus when he was our age.
Like hell there aren't.
Who are you?
Thomas, my name. History, my game. I've written extensively about the young Jesus after Christmas. The problem is that we're fed this Hallmark TV version of the story. What you should be getting is how extraordinary child Jesus was. Have you ever heard those stories?
No!
They are brilliant stories, written by me, Thomas.
How come we've never heard of you?
Don't interrupt. When Jesus was merely 5 years old, he collected some pure water from a brook, mixed it with dirt from the river bottom, turned it into a kind of clay, which he fashioned into 12 sparrows. When he was 5!
Wow, amazing. You saw this?
No, but I know about it because the Jews were upset that he did this on the Sabbath. And they complained to Joseph, his father, about this. So it's common knowledge. It's out there in the historical record.
Well, what happened?
Joseph found him and yelled.
Why are you doing this? Why are you making birds on the Sabbath?
Young Jesus clapped his hands and said, "What birds?" And at that moment, they flew away. Here's a better one, also from when he was 5. Jesus was walking in the village when a boy bumped into his shoulder. Jesus was so angry that he said, "I don't think we'll have any more of that." And the boy dropped dead on the spot.
Jesus, what else did he do?
I'm not finished with this one. Believe me, it gets better. The parents of the dead boy blamed Joseph for the death of their child. They suggested that he take his family and live somewhere, anywhere else.
Jesus, what are you doing? You cannot kill people. It's not right. It's wrong. No more. Do you hear? No more.
And Jesus said, "All right, I won't kill people anymore, but these villagers must understand that there are consequences to their actions. They cannot escape their punishment." And as soon as he said that, all the villagers went blind.
No, you can't blind people either. No killing, no blinding. Why are you doing this?
Jesus said, "I'd be very careful of what I said next if I were you. You do not want to make me mad."
Wait a minute. Something isn't right here. This is not the Jesus we've come to know from the Bible.
He has huge feelings, and with those feelings come almost supernatural powers. But he's only a child. You expect him to be the mature healer riding on a donkey? He has to learn. Speaking of learning, Zacchaeus, the teacher, remember him?
So you want to hear about that incident in my school? Joseph brought Jesus to my school. And our first lesson was the alphabet.
Jesus said to him, "I already know the alphabet. There is nothing you can teach me."
He was rude. And he would not pay attention. I became really frustrated with him. And so I tapped him on the head. It wasn't hard, no. I'm sure he could hardly feel it. But he went like... And next thing I knew, I was picking myself from the floor with a taste of blood in my mouth.
Here is one of my favorite stories. Jesus was playing on the roof of a house with other children.
Parents let him do that?
And one of them, I believe his name was Billy, fell off the roof and died.
Yeah, that was me. Our parents were absolutely certain Jesus threw me off the roof, but then we convinced otherwise.
You threw my son off the roof!
How could you?
Jesus said, I didn't throw him off the roof. He fell. He wasn't being careful. Ask him yourself.
Have you no decency? Can't you see he is dead?
And with that, Jesus leaped off the roof onto the ground next to the dead body and said, Did I throw you off the roof?
Got up and said, No, you raised me up.
And the parents were astonished to see their child raised from the dead.
This is a Holy Land News special report.
This just in. The Holy Family has been asked to leave the vicinity after yet another suspicious death of a teacher. That brings the total up to 6 suspicious deaths, if you don't count the 2 he allegedly resurrected. Now back to our regularly scheduled program.
So in order to quell the hysteria, I told Mary to lock him in his room, especially when we got word from the school that they were running out of teachers. Honestly, when I asked about the childhood of Jesus, I didn't expect to hear stories about him being an absolute monster.
They weren't all bad.
I was splitting wood in my yard one day, and my axe slipped and I cut off the bottom of my foot. But then Jesus put his hand on the wound and it healed instantly. He said, Get up, split your wood, and remember me. When my son Jesus was 6 years old.
Good, I thought we were going to be stuck on 5 forever.
Now we're moving on to 6 now. I sent him to collect water in a jug. On the way there, it broke, so he set his cloak on the ground and it absorbed all the water. It was a miracle. I kept it a secret because of stuff.
Well, the secret is out now. On several occasions, Jesus helped me with our crops. He sowed 1 measure of grain. After harvesting and threshing it, he had 100 measures. He gave grain to the poor, and he was only 8 when he performed this miracle.
Joseph was a carpenter by trade. A rich man asked Joseph to craft him a bed, but because of an error in measurement, he ended up with 2 boards of unequal length. Jesus grabbed the shorter board and stretched it to the proper length.
Wait a second. This could be good for us. This is a superpower I can get behind. And if it comes from God, well, it must be all right. Mustn't it?
Joseph's other son, James, was gathering firewood when he was bit by a viper.
A viper?
Thick poisonous snake, nearly always fatal, dead in under a minute.
So what happened?
Jesus blew on the wound and I recovered instantly.
Let me see if I have this straight. From the age 5 onwards, Jesus killed a lot of people, and those he didn't kill, he made them go blind. As he got older, his miracles seemed to benefit the members of his family. Where were you headed with this?
These powers, he always had them, but he didn't know what they were. He had to experience them, control them, refine them. According to Thomas, me, and you can quote me on this, just don't use my name, Jesus canceled out his earlier actions by bringing back to life all those who had suffered at his hand. The dead could walk, and the blind could see. The last we hear of him as a child was when he was 12. He stormed into the temple, and that story we know from the New Testament.
Wait a second. That reminds me. All of those stories aren't in the New Testament.
What are you insinuating? That I am not a reliable witness? Balderdash, poppycock, horse feathers, poppycock.
You already said that one.
And I'll say it again. On a stack of Bibles, I'll say it. In any court in the nation. Any court in the nation. If you have any other questions, ask Pastor Andrew. That's what the coffee hour is for.
Amen.